So Scott, who are we here for today? I hope it's not another mobster, because I really am going to lose it if what happened in Philly happens here.
Sorry. Start to lose it, darling. Hey everybody, I'm Scott Stanton, the Tombstone Tourist, and today we are in South Dartmouth Cemetery, and of guess where? South Dartmouth, Massachusetts. Now today is really exciting. On and off for the last 3 years, I have been looking for this individual, and we have finally found it. And today, on July 1st, 2024, we're going to be the first people to tell you exactly where he's located. And who are we talking about? We're talking about the single most vicious, horrible psychopath killer from the mob on the Eastern Seaboard. I'm of course talking about Joseph the Animal Barboza. Now, if you want all that early history about Joseph Barboza and how he grew up and reform school and all that stuff that made him turn into the psycho adult that he was, come to our website, The Tombstone Tourist. I have all that early stuff. What I want to do is start in 1962. And why 1962? Because that's when the Boston mob started to get really violent. They were ramping up because they were all trying to take over different gangs and factions. Were trying to take over the various things that they do. You know, be it loan sharking, what have you, stolen property, whatever it is. What mobs do. And Joseph Barboza was contacted by Raymond Patriarca of the Patriarca crime family in Providence, Rhode Island. And he was trying to get a foothold up in the Eastern Seaboard, and he wanted to get into more rackets. So he hired Joseph Barboza as a contractor to do the dirty work. And that included murder. So he wanted to take out as many of his rivals he possibly could. Now, Barboza can't be made a made man because he's Portuguese. So he was an associate. Despite what the web says, he was never a made guy. And basically in 2 to 4 year time period, it has been found that he had killed 26 people, stabbed 75 people, and violently beaten over 500. So it was a very violent time, and he was in the center of it. Now, he was so good at his job, Raymond Patriarca and his family started taking over different factions, and everything was going great, and he was getting paid, making money, and he was a very good loan sharker. One of his corners alone, he was making 5 to 6 grand every week, just loan sharking and beating the snot out of people that didn't pay him back. This guy's a huge guy. So things were going well until, I believe it was around 1967, 68. He was pulled over by police, and he had an arsenal of weapons in his back for his trade. And he was arrested, and he was looking at 5 years prison easily, mandatory. And so he was waiting for Raymond to bail him out. And Raymond didn't. Let him rot behind bars. And in fact, his associates, Barboza's associates, raised $80,000. And what did Raymond do? He killed all 3 guys, stole the $80,000, so they couldn't raise the 100 grand to get him out. Not only that, Raymond stole his loan sharking operation. So there he is, rotting behind prison. He has no friends. They're all dead. His associates were killed. He has no $100,000 to bail himself out, and he lost his business. So what did he do? The FBI came in, saw some weakness, boom, turned him into a snitch. Problem with Barboza, he's a notorious liar. And sometimes it's true, sometimes it's half true, but mostly false. And what had happened was probably one of the worst, most corrupt, reprehensible moments in FBI history in the Boston office is when they took him in as a snitch. And what he did is he ratted out 6 associates of the Patriarca family, including Peter Lamone. We visited his grave early, and I kind of talked about this briefly. But he snitched on all 6 of these guys for the murder of Teddy Deegan. Now, Teddy Deegan was a low-rent robber, burglar guy, kind of guy. Wasn't a made guy, nothing like that. But he pinned it on these 6 guys. What happens? They coach him on what to say. They coach him about the evidence they found. Bingo, bango, bongo. They're found guilty. 2 guys were sentenced to life in prison. 4 were sentenced to death. Every one of them spent at least 25 years behind prison. And the government, in the end, had to pay them $102 million. 2 of them died in prison. And this is how heinous it was. There was one of the guys, his name was Greco. He was not even really a mob associate. He lived down in Miami, Florida at the time, and he was found guilty, even though they couldn't pin an ounce of real objective evidence on him. So he got busted and he spent all that time in prison. And you know who actually did kill Teddy Deacon, if it wasn't the 6 people that Barboza testified against? Why, of course, it was Joseph Barboza and Vincent the Bear Fleming. Now, Vincent Fleming's name sounds familiar to you. That's because his brother is Steve Fleming, Steve the Rifleman Fleming, who worked with Whitey Bulger. In fact, isn't this insane that here's a man who killed 26 people, and they're trading this all over one murder for those other people? It's just insanity with the FBI. So, in the meantime, while they're rotting in prison, what do? Yeah, they got this guy, Barboza, and if they let him go, he's going to get killed instantly. So the FBI went, hey, we need some sort of witness protection program. And believe it or not, Joseph the Animal Barboza was the very first person in the witness protection program by the FBI. They took him off to San Francisco, and what did Mr. Barboza do? The same old stuff. Allegedly, he killed up to 5 more people. He was into drugs. He was into loan sharking. He was a bad egg all around, just on a different coast. Now, he got arrested and was charged and under his real name with manslaughter. And he did 5 years in Folsom Prison, and he got out. And what happened next? So there he is in Folsom Prison. I believe he does 5 years or something like that. And when he was released, he was found himself, stayed in San Francisco. And if you thought the Patriarca crime family forgot about him, no, they did not. And they waited about 4 months. They tracked him down. They sent one of their guys out to befriend him. And then he ratted him out back to them. And they sent J.R. Russo, a notorious Boston mafioso. They sent him and another guy, and they waited. And when he came out of his friend's apartment and he was about to go into his car, I believe it's in the Sunset District at 25th and Marengo. It's on my website. The Ford van comes around the corner, sliding door opens, and shotgun blast to his torso. 4 of them. He's dead before he hits the ground, and the van speeds off. So there he is. He's dead on the streets. Russo and his associate get a plane, go back to Boston. They are absolutely celebrated. The driver, by the way, is still alive today. I won't name him because he lives in Boston. He's still alive. But Russo has passed away, and I don't think he cares. And he was absolutely celebrated because Joseph the Animal Barboza was hated by everybody. And the FBI were so corrupt, it was just literally chaos and mayhem for like literally 10 years because of this man. So when he found out, the famous defense attorney, F. Lee Bailey, said this about his former client: "With all due respect to my former client, I don't believe society has suffered a great loss." And that is the end of Joseph the Animal Barboza. If you want to find Joseph the Animal Barboza's final resting place, come here to South Dartmouth Cemetery. He's in the very corner of the cemetery. He's 2 rows off. He's near 511, grave 511, and he's about 9 from the corner and there's this wall right here. So he's right on the edge of the cemetery. Very easy to find. If you want more exact directions, including GPS, come to my website, The Original Tombstone Tourist, and I have all the information. I have all the photographs, crime scenes, and this story goes way deeper than anything that I've told you. I hope you have a great day, and hopefully maybe I'll do some non-mobsters' graves in the very near future. Thank you very much, and thank you to Karen. Have a great day.